is hurting a little bit right now, but it ain't nothing new. If I can ever get this can to stand and stay in one place. Go ahead and prepare yourself to be able to write. Got some things for you. Something happens when you have time. You got to be careful what you ask God for. I was telling the Lord a couple of months ago that I needed some time just to stop everything, and almost like a reset. You don't know what comes with that. You got to be careful when you ask God for some stuff. In the process, He's allowing me to reset and do some things. I've been amazed, and now I'm uncomfortable trying to get to where I can be in a position for a little while. I'm amazed at the timing. The scripture says that God's word is alive. Because it is alive, I think we look at it as if it is just a book with words. Matthew chapter number 20. We're still in our series. What is this, number 17 or 18, Ms. Roger?
I don't have my correct books.
I want to say it's about 17. We're still in that series. It's fixed. But I want to teach on a different way tonight. The reason for that is what happens in the body of Christ on many occasions that, trying to see how the best way to put this. In a family, let me put it to you this way. In a family, when anybody had a parent that taught you to clean your room before you went to school? Or should I say, supposed to clean your room before you went to school? And my mom always said, when you crawl out of bed, first thing you do is you don't even stand up. You crawl out on your knees. You tell God, thank you for another day. She used to tell stuff when she wasn't a Christian. But then the next thing you do is, before you even take your body across the hallway to go to the restroom, make that dinner. I used to say, what's going to happen between the time I go to the bathroom and come back? I mean, it's got things like that you can remember, and you question why they taught you what they taught you. Well, I was lying and resting and thinking about the scripture. And the Lord began to talk to me about the methodology of teaching. That sometimes you teach things in a way for people to get the information that you don't know the reason for why it's being taught. Anybody's ever seen the Karate Kid? Okay. He said, Mr. Miyagi, teach me how to fight. I'm tired of getting beat up. Mr. Miyagi said, go wash my car. He come after washing the cars, he said, I'm going to learn how to fight. When you going to teach me how to fight? He said, my fence need painting. There's some things you need to do first. Somebody say first. He begins to paint me. No, you're not painting right. Like up and down. You know, it's walk a little bit, breathe in. What does that have to do with putting paint on the fence? Wiping my car off right. Wax on, wax off. You remember that, right? Watch. He's teaching the methodology before he teaches you why. And I'm talking to the Lord and I'm saying, why do you teach us the methodology of what to do before we know why we have to do it? And the answer became so plain. Because if I told you up front what I had for you, you wouldn't learn the lesson. Because if I told you that I was giving you to paint the fence was to teach you how to defend yourself. If I told you up front that wax on and wax off was to be able to fight back, then everything that I say to you, you're going to equate that to fight it. If I tell you to go wash the dishes, you're going to think there's something to the dishes. No, they dirty. And they need to be clean. Wait a minute. If I tell you to vacuum the floor, now everything you're doing, because you think every lesson is about, you understand what I'm saying? So you don't tell the person why you're teaching them something. You teach them the methodology. And then when you learn the method, somebody say the method. Once you learn the method, then when you're told why you're doing it, now you can understand why all your efforts make sense now. It's not going to make sense, John, if I tell you up front what I got for you first. Because then, somebody say then, you're going to run. Pastor, what are you talking about? I'm going to go around the world. Can I tell you, please, if you would, I'm asking everybody under the sound of my voice, commit yourself to this. Be back next week, because this is not something I can finish in 1 week. This may not be something I can finish in 3 weeks. But commit yourself to this, because you got to get this lesson. Let me tell you why. Because God said that everybody that hears this tonight will begin to understand why you've been going through what you've been going through. If you miss these, you might miss your purpose. Follow me? The best you can do is be. Watch. Jeremiah, if you write this down, Jeremiah chapter number 1. I want you to go back and I want you to read it. So it's going to be a little different. You're going to have to do some work on your own later on. Go read Jeremiah chapter number 1. You're going to see what here's Jeremiah. God says, before I formed you in the belly, I knew you. I sanctified you and ordained you to be a prophet unto the nation. Wait a minute. When? Before he told him to go prophesy. Amen? Now, God gives us an example of telling somebody up front. Because when he told Jeremiah, then when he told Jeremiah how to do it, watch, Jeremiah said, Why? Because I want you to do it naked. Wait a minute. I want you to eat dung. Everybody know what dung means? Dung? Yeah. I want you to lie down in the street and show them their place. I want you to show them how far they've fallen from me. And you're going to lie down and they're going to think you've lost your mind. They're going to think you're a fool. They're going to think you're a beggar on the street. Watch. He told him you're going to be a prophet. I'm going to be a prophet. And then when God tells you to do something, that doesn't match up with being a prophet. Y'all see what I'm saying? Right. I want to use you, but I've got to discipline you. I'm going to use you as the head, but I need you to clean the bathroom. I'm the head. Everybody follow me? Yeah. Watch. If he tells you up front what he has in store for you, when you look at other lessons, somebody say lessons, you'll think that is below what he's called you to do. Lord mercy. And then you won't go do it. But if I tell you, before I tell you who you are, if I tell you that I need you to go clean the bathroom, you'll go clean the bathroom. Right. And then I tell you again, go clean the bathroom. If I say clean the office, you'll clean the office. If I tell you to sweep the floor, do this. No, I want you to do it this way. You don't know that I'm teaching you lessons to help you to become what I've called for you to do. Amen. But if I tell you that up front, you start looking at that other stuff. You start looking at that stuff like, I'm better than that. Right. When it's those things, somebody say those things, that get me into that position. Well, I'm going somewhere tonight. Please put your feelings in your pocket. Not pinpointing anything. I'm not. These are the progression. We started at chapter 1, and this is the next phase of Scripture. And I'm only going in line. So we are at this point, and I'm asking God, I want to do some stuff about this that I don't understand. And boy, he took me back. Look, let's deal. Watch. Some people would say that this kind of teaching it's not conducive for new saints. Watch. And it's not. Why? Because this kind of teaching makes you grow up fast. You don't get to be a baby long. Watch. And if every time we get an influx of babies come in and I go back I will lose those who have progressed to another level. Follow me? Watch. You take your teenager and you start dealing with your teenager like you dealing with the 2-year-old and the new baby in the house, you will lose your teenager. Why? Because they are beyond that stage and you can't treat them like a baby. But the baby comes into the house. You taught me a lesson. God was bringing this thing back in my head. Watch. We used to child-proof the house. You need to house-proof the child. Come on. We move everything for the babies. We do the house go backwards for the baby. Instead of teaching the baby, don't touch that. I said, you know, you gotta bring the noise down. No, she gotta learn how to sleep through the noise. And now, you know, she's had her drink. She will sleep through the noise. Not understanding that it's preparing her to be the perfect church baby. But in the house, if what you do is bring the noise level down for the child, then when you bring the child to church, the child can't grow up in the church because the child is not used to the noise. Are y'all seeing the examples that I'm giving you? Watch. And we keep asking God, watch this, to take us in the reverse, to show us the end first, when he's trying to teach you, paint the fence and wash the car. So what do you do with the babies when you come in? You strip the chicken off the bone and give them a bone, and they will suck all the marrow out of that bone. Y'all, and they'll learn how to grab hold of the chicken and you leave a little piece of meat on it. When they get used to it, one of their favorite food is chicken. Y'all, I'm giving you examples. Are y'all seeing what I'm saying? Watch this. But what we do is that, but if I did take everybody back to baby food, everybody ain't on that level. Makes sense in the natural? So if it makes sense in the natural, I got to show you something in the spirit. Watch this. If you're writing, this is, let's just say this is number 17. We might correct it in the series. It's fixed. The main subject for the night is this. Help is on the way. Sound like somebody needed that one. Last week we had help. I think God's trying to kill me. If you missed that one, please get the CD. Watch. Somebody say help. Help is on the way. But can I tell you, help is conditional. Because everybody that cry out for help don't need it. And can I tell you, sometimes we make more phone calls to the police, to the fire department, and to the ambulance, and they really didn't need to come out. Matthew chapter number 20, verse number 1 through 16. And we're going to go someplace. I'm not going to rush. That's why I said I'm going to take my time in this. We might have the same subject for 3 weeks, but please, I need you to get these lessons. Y'all ready? Look at your neighbor and say, are you ready? Listen what it says. For the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man. Comparison. Wait. Like unto a man that is a householder. What do you mean house owner? He owns the house. So he's teaching a spiritual principle. If you want to understand heaven, you got to understand what it's like being somebody who owns a house. With me? That little thing keeps coming up. We're going to have to restart. I'm going to take the computer home tonight so I can update it. Which went out early in the morning, watch, rich man, to hire laborers to work in his vineyard. You with me there? That's playing, right? Watch. And when he had agreed, meaning he had spoken to some people, he had agreed with the laborers for a penny a day. Now us seem like that's crazy. But back then, a penny a day was a lot of money. He sent them into his vineyard. They agreed. They went to work. Okay? And he went out about the 3rd hour, or 3 hours later, and saw others standing idle in the marketplace. Can you see him saying, I need more workers, and there's people standing at Publix and Walmart and looking for a job. So he them, verse 4, go ye into my vineyard, or the vineyard, and whatsoever is right, somebody say right. Watch now. I will give you, and they went their way. What is right? Anybody I want you to talk to me tonight now. Does anybody know what it means? What is right? Wait, let me help you with what's right. The first one's got hired for how much? So what is right if you hire me to do the same? If you hired Sister Pat to do one job and you hire me to do the same job she's doing, what is right? The same one? The same work, same pay. Wait. And he said unto them, go ye into the vineyard, and whatsoever is right, I will give you. And they went their way. And again, somebody say again. He went out about the 6th and 9th hour, 2 more times, and did likewise. So wait a minute, what is right? He hired some people in the beginning of the day, then he hired some to do the work 3 hours later, wait a minute, and then 6 hours later he hired somebody, and then 9 hours later he hired somebody, and he says he's going to pay them what is right. What is right? Same thing that they agreed to. Oh, wait a minute, they ain't been working all day. See, because of the job, right? Same pay. Wait, okay. And about 11 hours later, he went out and found others standing idle and said unto them, why ye stand here all day? And they said unto him, because no man hath hired us. He said unto them, go ye also into the vineyard, and whatsoever is, that shall you receive. So when evening was come, even or evening was come, the Lord of the vineyard said unto his steward, said unto those in charge, call the laborers and give them what I hired them for, their hire, beginning from the last, oh Lord, beginning from the last to the first. Wait a minute, I got a problem. Y'all know folks would have a problem if you hired me to go to work and I've been working all day and they came in right at the end and you gonna pay them first? We ain't even talking about what's right. Come on now. Y'all know, y'all understand what I'm saying? We ain't talking about what's right. Wait. The first person you need to pay.
Okay.
Are you seeing this? The first person you need to pay is the one who's been here the longest. That's what's right in our society. But we ain't talking about our society. We're talking about heaven. And God says in heaven, I don't care if you've been Christian long. If somebody just got saved, they gonna get the same thing. Y'all ain't ready for me. They gonna get the same pay. Somebody say the same pay. Because when I hired you to do the same job. Right? Even though they died and went on before you, they're not waiting, until you get there to get paid. Right. Wait, so if that happens in heaven, are we citizens of heaven when we get to heaven, or are we citizens of heaven on earth? On earth. So since we're citizens of heaven on earth, it doesn't mean that simply because somebody got blessed first that they were right. It doesn't mean that somebody was outworking you or you deserve it. Heaven doesn't work off of what you just deserve. Because therefore we have grace. Wow. We mean grace. He can, okay, there's a word, you can look it up later. I'm talking in my head. The word is sovereign. It means, it's S-O-V-E-R-I-E-G-N, sovereign. Or solve is 2 words, solve or sovereign or reign or sole reign. It means one reign. Wait, we don't live, heaven is not a democracy when everybody gets together and decide, then God makes a decision. No, heaven is a theocracy. Theocracy means God makes the rule. Sovereign means God can bless who he wants to bless, when he wants to bless, how he wants to bless, how many times he wants to bless, and he still be God. And what is fair? Wait, we keep saying favor ain't fair, but that's a church genre. Can I mess with you? That's something we say in church. that sounds good and we run with it, not understanding the depth of it. Wait, we know favor ain't fair. Why? Because if I do you a favor, it doesn't mean that I get to do you a favor. If I do you a favor, I do something for you that you can't do for yourself and you don't even deserve it. That's God's sovereignty. It means that God doesn't need permission to do what he needs to do. Why? Can I tell you? Sometimes there will be rules that are there that's in the scripture, and God will break his own rule. You know, it's once appointed for man to die, and after death the judgment. But he let some people be raised from the dead and then die again. God can break. What do you mean? See, that's why I said I was questioning whether or not to run the tape. Because some people will look at this and say he's preaching something that's offset. But you got to understand the scripture. When you start to use the scripture to bring God in, can I mess with you, Lord? And I say, I'm talking about here. Watch this. Your Bible is not just the word of God. Amen. Because if you think that's all God said, then you have missed out completely. That's the simple instructions manual that he has left for man how to live his life on earth. But you can't tell me the God that created everything, that is still creating, watch, and his existence. I'm not going to take him back about what he's going to do. Where was God looking at when Jesus was down? I'm not going to take you there because I messed your mind up. Watch. You got to understand that God's nature is to create, and he is still creating. You got to understand from his very beginning to the very end, what makes him eternal is he's still creating stuff. Wait a minute. If he's still creating stuff, you can't tell me that that's the only thing that he said. He's sovereign. Somebody say sovereign. Since he is sovereign, and he can do what he wants to do, when he wants to do it. So if he decides to hire somebody in the morning and pay them one thing, and somebody at the last hour to get the job done and pay them the same, and he decides to pay them up front, you can't get mad.
Yes. Hallelujah.
Why? Because if God decides to see my need, we say it all the time, he looked beyond my faults and saw my need. You might not have needed that blessing for the day, but God knows I needed it. And since he's my God, he saw that I needed it, he'll give me, God bless, he'll give me what I need if it's out of season.
All right. Yeah.
But he'll get mad because of your blessing. And when they came, they were hired about the 11th hour, they received every man a penny. Right? He said every man. Somebody say every man. Every man. A penny. And when the first came, they supposed, they were like, something about this ain't right. That they should have received more. How many know when something ain't quite right? You can keep it together as a Christian, but on the inside, you're waiting like, I'm waiting on my opportunity. I don't know if y'all know. Anybody else who said they don't do that, you lying. You know, praise the Lord. The whole praise the Lord got something different to it. What's wrong? See, that's what I read scripture. Watch. And they suppose that they should have received more. And they likewise received every when they got theirs. Watch. They got theirs. They not only paid attention to what they had. Have you seen the lesson now? They ain't said a word. Robert, is something wrong? Y'all know how you feeling. Come on. You know how you feeling funny about something that you just watch? And when they had received it, they murmured. Somebody say murmur. I'll teach you some lessons. Watch this. I'll teach you life lessons. Watch. If you let that spirit stay on you, it's going to overflow. And then you start complaining and murmuring. Murmuring about something that's right. Wait, what do you mean why it's right? Because that's what you agreed to. You agreed for the penny. You weren't there when he hired somebody, but you agreed. Somebody say agreed. Yeah, but you don't like what you agreed to. Oh, wait a minute. You don't like that you committed yourself to something. And now that you're in it, you thinking you should get more. simply because your eyes on somebody else. Lord, have mercy. Wait a minute. I'm in this marriage and I should be treated better than this. Look at Susan. She don't even work. And look what her husband. Y'all don't make me walk without this king up in here. Come on, y'all know I'm telling the truth. But when the first came, they supposed that they should receive more. And they likewise received every man a penny. And when they had received it, they murmured against the good man of the house. But we're talking about heaven. Somebody say heaven. Yeah. Some people have complaining in their heart for the thing that God gave you for a blessing. He gave it to you, and now you agreed to it. And you said, any way you bless me, I'll be, come on, talk, don't go sleep on me now. You'll be what? Satisfied. Somebody say satisfied. But how many know now that you got it, you ain't satisfied? Come on now. Oh, okay, wait. They begin to murmur of the good man in the house, saying, these last have wrought or worked but 1 hour. And thou hast made them equal unto us. I'm teaching you a lesson. You don't even know it. The biggest problem in society that we have right now, that everybody's trying to live on the level where somebody else is. Oh, they for me. I want to run. Where every time you see somebody else living a certain way, and because your life doesn't match up to where they are, you are unsatisfied. Not understanding if he hadn't blessed you the way he blessed you, you wouldn't be where you are right now. You wouldn't be where you are right now. So you're so busy looking at somebody else on their level, paying attention to what God is doing in their life. Maybe they needed a little more than you. How many know if you got more than 2 kids, all of kids are different. They have different needs. You love them the same, but the way you love them is a little different. Little Joey is a little slower than everybody. Y'all don't hear me. He's a little slower than everybody. Come on now. He's a little slower than everybody else. When the oldest girl, she's smart as a whip. You can lay a book in front of her, she'll teach herself. But little Joey needs some extra work. But then the oldest want to say, you take more time with Joey than you do with me, because Joey need it.
That's right. Amen.
But we talking heaven. Somebody say heaven. If you're going to walk in the kingdom of God, you got to understand, you got to begin to appreciate God on your own level. Why? Because if you look at somebody else and then you start looking at them and how God has moved to bless them and take them to another level, and you forsake being thankful for you, maybe they need that extra attention. Maybe they need that extra car because their self-esteem wouldn't be much or nothing. Could it be that God has allowed you to rise up and be without some natural stuff that you think you need, and now you think you less because you don't have a Mercedes emblem, you got a Hyundai emblem. Let me ask you a question. Do you put the same gas in the cars? Wait a minute. Do all of their wheels go around? Do they need an oil change every now and then? Wait a minute. Somebody say comfort. So now we're looking at comfort level. What you're really jealous about is comfort level. Because if my comfort level was better than this, I could be a better Christian. And what you said to God is, if you had been a better daddy, I could be a better child. But he gives you what you need. Amen. That's what y'all get for letting me get some rest. And when they had received it, they murmured against the good man of the house, saying, listen, these last have wrought but an hour, and thou hast made them equal to us, which have borne the burden unto us, which have borne the burden and heat of the day. Wait a minute. Who handled the heat the most? The one I hired early. Right? The one hired early handled more of the weight. the first child usually gets the worst of the deal. The youngest child gets the more of the stuff. Are you the youngest? Oldest? Oh, you know what I'm talking about. You put my check in the mail for me. You watch this. Why? Because you know there's particulars. No, you can't. Don't let that baby touch that. No, you can't eat that. No, you can't do that. No. And they grow up with that. No. So they grow up understanding that there's so many boundaries. Watch this. And if you had 2 or more children, you got to understand that last child, they gonna be all right. They just wiping their face, bringing it all in their mouth, doing all kind of stuff. And you say, go wash that baby hands. But you didn't let us do that. Resenting, watch, being a baby. And not appreciating growing up. Talking the kingdom, right? So since we're talking the kingdom, what is God saying to his people? He knew who he wanted first. Because you can handle being last. What do you mean? Because the first will make sure everybody else eat before they eat. The first will make sure that everybody has. Usually the first is the peacekeeper in the house. When somebody out of place, they don't want the first to know what the last ones have done, because the last ones won't tell the parent, but the first one's going to say, you better tell them before I tell them. Y'all know I'm telling the truth. The first one is usually the one who's more grounded on the inside, even if their actions on the outside don't match their inside. Why? Because they are used to the struggle. The other ones are used to handouts. They don't know what it's like to work for something for the most part. The first one usually have to work for something and learn their own, and they have watched. So why is Pastor teaching us this? Because what you don't know is what God has been teaching the first ones. Watch this. Is how to handle the kingdom better than others. What do you mean? Because if you ever been first, you have to learn how to put aside your feelings when the new baby came home. And you have to learn how to let them play with your stuff, even when you don't like them touching. Y'all ain't ready for me. But the younger ones, you can't touch none of this stuff. They won't share. And it's usually the older one, watch this, that you turn to and say, go get them straight for me, please. Watch. Why? Because the old one knows your, y'all ain't ready for where I'm going. The oldest one knows your voice. The oldest one knows your plan. When you ain't home, the oldest one know how the house is supposed to run when mom and daddy ain't home. And I can tell you right now, y'all are going to get in some trouble. And usually the older one is given a little bit of authority to whoop some tail. Y'all ain't. So somebody say the kingdom. Can I tell you, what we're dealing with now is a bunch of babies in the kingdom of God. Where everything is about them. And they move faster. And they're getting more stuff. But the seasoned ones are forsaking being seasoned and being intelligent and being responsible, looking to go back to being a baby. Because they think it's better to be a baby than it is to be a grown-up. Y'all sure y'all gonna hang with me? I'm going a little bit further than that. I got some other stuff. I'm not going to get to the couple of scriptures, but I'm going to deal here. Wait. He says, but he answered, let me go, verse 12, saying, these last have wrought, but they didn't work but an hour. And then you made them equal with us. And we're the ones that carry the weight of the heat of the day and the burden of the labor. I know I agreed to the penny, but come on. The penny doesn't seem fair when you start adding people on at the last minute. I'm going to be honest. Come on. Be honest. Watch. But he answered one of them, which means there were more than one that was complaining, and said, friend, see, I closed the book right on it. He said, friend. Why does he say friend? Because the ones that came on longer hasn't learned the relationship that goes with being there longer. The one who's the oldest has a closer relationship with mama and daddy than the young one, because they hadn't been through the ups and downs. They weren't with mom and daddy when they didn't have nothing. They weren't with mom and daddy when all we had was one car. They wasn't with mom and daddy when there was no car seats and you had to lay the baby in the back window. And when you're traveling, you had to flip them over to make sure that they don't burn on one side. They wasn't with you. They wasn't with you when you didn't have. See, when they came along to a 2-story house, 2 cars, and a 2-car garage and everything supplied. They wasn't with you when you didn't have a bedroom and the only room was you had to share with the one child you had. But that child learned you. That child learned your mannerism. That child learned something from you. You were teaching that child lessons that that child didn't even know that it was learning. What you were actually doing, here we come, was duplicating you. Because I don't even know you that well. But if I sit the family down and I ask who act like you the most, oh, y'all see where I'm going? Watch this. And the reason he called them friend is because the older one had more time to learn you. So the kingdom of heaven is like this. The longer you're in it, the more you get to know God. The less you're in it, the more you look for stuff. Growing up means you grow into lessons that you didn't know that you were being taught. Pastor, why are you going here? And he answered one of them and said, friend, I do thee no wrong. Didn't you agree with me for a bit? Listen to the answer. Take that thine is. Take your little penny. What does scripture say? That's what you agreed to. That's tough. Okay. I will give unto this last even as unto you. I'm not going to show no favoritism. I'm going to give the one. I'm about to start working. To the last. Minister Roger. I listen to me. Can you go up? Check on that for me. Check on that. Okay. There you go. I take that thine is, and go thy way. I will give unto this last, even unto thee. Listen. Is it not lawful for me to do what I will with my own? Is it not lawful? Somebody say right. God says I can do with my own what I want to do. Y'all can get it. I can do with my own what I want to do. Say that again. Now you got it. Think about it. Listen. Verse 15. Learn the lesson. We're talking about the kingdom. Is it not right for me to do what I will do with my own? Let me ask you a question. How many belong to the Lord? Come on, let me see your hand. You belong to the Lord. You belong to the Lord. And God can do with you what He wants to, when He wants to, and it be right. He can hold you off until the right time. God says it's right. He can bless you up front, or He can bless you to the last. And you say, but that God said, take what I give you and go on your way. Don't mumble, don't complain. Why? Because he's trying to teach you a lesson. To be grateful over what you have. Because if you begin to show your level of maturity based upon what you have, he'll turn around and bless you with more. But you should expect him to treat the child a little different than he treats the older one. That should be expected. Wait. Is thine eye evil because I am good? He says, are you looking at me wrong because of what I did? And you calling what I did for Deacon Holmes evil? When if I had done what I did for Deacon Holmes and done it for you, you would have called it good? You telling me for me to bless somebody who don't even serve me? Who don't even love me? Who don't even recognize me? Don't call me God. Don't go to church. Don't pay the tithe. Don't pay the offering. And you looking at me and now you saying there's something wrong because I'm God? I can do with what is mine however I want to. Now take your little penny. That's what he said. He's adjusting attitudes. And every now and then, we need an attitude adjustment. Amen. Why? Because you start to think more of yourself than you ought to think. Had you thought about what God has done for you, you would have remained or retained a grateful heart or grateful spirit. But you're too busy looking at somebody else's, wishing upon somebody else's, not understanding that the reason why you are where you are is because he's trying to teach you a lesson. And the lesson has nothing to do with how he's blessed somebody else. They are not on your level learning that lesson at that time. Had they been on the same level, they would have been just like the person who came in the 3rd hour, the 6th hour, the 9th hour, and the 11th hour. They would have received a penny. Since they're not on the same level of learning something, I'm not saying better than you. I'm saying they are learning something where they are, and you are learning something where you are, and God is trying to do something with you, but you're too busy looking at somebody who ain't going through what you're going through. And then you say it's unfair, and you don't understand that you're saying that God, sovereign God, who can do what he wants to, when he wants to, how he wants to, as many times as he wants to, and decide whether he's going to do it every day once, you call him evil and don't even know it. Now, had he done that for you, you would have said it was good. What am I trying to get you to realize? Stop and realize the level that you're on. The reason why you're going through what you're going through is because of where you are in your relationship or your walk with God. And he wants you to understand. It looks like other people is passing you by. It is because they are not learning the lesson that you are learning. Y'all get this? Because I'm about to go somewhere. Watch this. So the last shall be, and the first. Why? Please say it. Read it. See what it said? Wait. Shh. We quote that scripture, but we quote it wrong. We say it wrong. We say it with the wrong intent. Wait. Listen what he said. The last shall be, and the first shall be. Why? Because I called a whole lot of people to come to work first. And they wouldn't come. And I'm going to give them the same payment. But when it comes down to inheritance, it is different. Why? Because I'm in relations to the people more who came in last and not as close to the people. So the people who came in first know me better. They know me to be a God when they're sick. They know me to be a doctor in the sick room. They know me to be a lawyer in the courtroom. They know me to be, watch, they've had experiences with me, but watch this, people who don't have these experiences just know that God is good. And they'll call him good because of what he does for them. But how many know it takes a relationship with God to say, if it's God, you don't do nothing else for me, you are still God. That's why he can call you friend. Because you're not in this relationship for the stuff. Woo, Lord. Please make this CD for me. When you get beyond the stuff, you have grown up. When all you serve God is for is what God can do for you, you are in a lopsided, I'm going to say it, you're in a lopsided relationship. Because usually you're trying to get all and you give very little. But people who have matured, whether God bless me or not, I still call him up and talk to him. I still get on my knees and call him Lord. When all hell breaks loose, I don't blame him. I said, blessed be the name of the Lord. Somebody said relationship. He's talking to you about relationship. Why? Hear me. Because the Lord told me that there were going to be people that would be here tonight who don't understand the reason why he let you go through what you go through right now. Because he's trying to make you into the leader that he's always wanted you to be. I don't know in what areas, I can't tell you. But you're catching it. Because you were chosen. He called many, a few. If you mess with you, then I'm going to let you go home. Somebody say many.
Many.
Watch this. When he called for the many, they had a choice. Ooh, I hope y'all get this. It's so good, boy. Ooh, I wish I had $1 in my pocket. I'd been your offering and put it in another pocket. What you? Somebody say many.
Many.
They have a choice. They show up when they want to. They do what they want to do. Why? Because they don't put nothing into it. Watch this. The many are the kind of people who have cars given to them. Watch, and when it's given to them, watch, they don't appreciate the car because they don't have nothing invested. And then all they talk about is how good God is. And can I tell you, they don't take care of the car go down, the car's on its last leg, and then they come looking for more. But somebody say chosen. When you're chosen, guess what happens? You don't have a choice. You take this hoopty and be happy and go home. And when the brakes fail, ain't nobody coming to your rescue.
That's right.
When ain't no food in the house, ain't nobody coming to say praise the Lord. There ain't no Holy Ghost. Why? Because when you're chosen, there is not a choice. Y'all don't hear me. Some people, when they call themselves, can I tell you, pulpits are filled with people who have called themselves. They want to be pastor. Come on. Be ready to give up all of you. All of you. Watch this. Be ready to be light as long as you agree and dislike when they say you wrong. Really? Just get up in the middle of the night when somebody says you tired, but they called you because you're the last person on their mind. They got to take their life. You ready? You see, but they see the glamour. They see the glitz, and they jump up there. They ain't paid the price that you had to pay. Watch what when you chosen, God put you in life lessons to prepare you for the place that you're going to stand. And you didn't know that God was preparing you all along. He was telling you wax on, wax off. You didn't know why. And so now I know why, that when I'm put in this position, watch, because I've been chosen. Or watch this. But when he called you, many people come running and they go running. Oh, God called me. Oh, God anointed. My anointing, my ministry. Right. 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 You know why it's yours? Because everything handed to you. But when you chosen, you show up when you don't like it. When you're chosen, you do what you need to do. Watch this. I got a question for you. How many don't raise your hand. If you have problems with wrestling, with doing what is right, even when you don't like it. That's, to me, that's I don't know about anybody else. I'm talking about that's my test. When I know what's right to do, and I know you don't like me, and I know you're trying to set me up, and I know you. No. Then you go and do what you need to do. I didn't know that I was being prepared. Why? Because I'm chosen. I didn't know that being talked about was preparing me to be here. I didn't know. I thought being successful, people would be happy for me. But I didn't find out until later that success breeds contempt. That they actually hate you the more you're blessed. I didn't know. So he didn't tell me where he was taking me until after I got there. And when I got there, now I got to rely on, that's why you were teaching me that all along. Why? Because there are some people under the sound of my voice, everybody hear me, that are sitting in here right now. I don't know if it's all, he didn't say all. He said that there would be some people in here that he's about to shift you. But before he can shift you, you have to learn how to appreciate where you are. Why? Because many people are called, but a few people are chosen. Why? Because you keep asking me for better. Listen, you keep asking me for a better life. Watch this, John. Catch this. Catch it early. I wish I had somebody to teach me this early. Catch it early. When I ask him for a better life than my father, it means I got to go through more than what my father went through. God, I don't want to wait till I'm 50 to do it. Okay? No problem. You want to learn it early? Okay? I'll teach you. God, why is my life like this? You asked me for it. It is what we agreed on. Take your penny. A bunch. So we don't know what we ask for because sometimes we pray not knowing what we ask for. And we don't know that when we ask God for greater, for you to get greater, your mindset has to be changed to handle greater. And the only way your mind gets changed for handling greater, you got to learn how to deal with stuff that seems ridiculous. Why am I dealing with this again? Because he's trying to prepare your mind or your head for greatness. Now, you just want to be a part of the many, do nothing at all. But if you want to go down into greatness and you want to be called God's friend and you want to have a relationship with him, relationships with God don't come that easy. You find those relationships in hard times. When somebody tells you that he's a healer, oh yes, praise the Lord. God is a healer. That's your head talking. But when you get down to the nitty-gritty and you say, God, if you don't do this for me, I'm about to die. When God comes to your rescue, nobody can take that from you. Why? Because you went through that understanding that it was God who brought you out.
Yes, yes.
And now I can say God is good. And somebody says all the time, and they ain't been through nothing. And quick to say it, and all the time, and you want to slap me even though you... Come on, y'all see, I say stuff most people don't want to say. Y'all know I'm telling the truth. They quoting stuff and walk around. We've got more Facebook preachers that can tell you how to live. Watch this, and they can tell you how to live online, but can't do nothing. Ain't living nothing. And you say, I'm more. He said he has people that cry out to them with their mouth, but their hearts are far from him. Why? Because their understandings have not been enlightened. Should I not cry out to him, Pastor? I am telling you to cry out to him. Please go. Tell him you want to go deeper. Absolutely. To go deeper, guess what? You got to walk out where there's no footing. Shallow, in the shallow water, you can feel the ground. But to go deep, you can't go deep if you don't learn how to tread water. You can't go deep if you don't know how to swim. Come on, you want to go deeper, Lord. I got to say this last one, then I got to get out this little box so we can go home. Watch this. Take me into the holies of holies. Take me behind the veil. We say so many crazy things. But Pastor, what is wrong with asking God to take us behind the veil? Watch. When the high priest would go behind the veil for us, only one. Somebody say one. One could go in. So he didn't want just the one, he wanted all of us. So when Christ died on the cross, he tore the rent from the top to the bottom and said, since you can't get to me, let me get to you, but you keep trying to go someplace that I ain't. I'm trying to get to you. Take me beyond the veil. He ain't beyond the veil. Oh, looking at me. He's not there. He came out of that place so he can live in you. And we keep saying that, but you, Pastor, you know what they're talking about. No, stop saying stuff that you don't have an understanding about. Saying, since you came from behind the veil, since I couldn't get to you, and you did me a favor and came to me so that I could be like you. Since God made man, so man could be like him, but man couldn't be like him, so God came down to man so that man could be like him so he can get back to God. Are y'all seeing what I'm saying? Like these life lessons. If you learn these life lessons, these kingdom lessons, it will propel you and prepare you to be able to walk in this end time when people are going to be losing their heart for fear. And God hasn't given us a spirit of fear, but a power, love, and a sound mind. So if you can get used to the hard time now and tell God thank you and rejoice in the tough times now, he's preparing you because you've chosen. And in the last day, he'll call you friend. And while other folks scrambling, wondering if he can do it, you can rely on. I remember, boy, when I was out, he brought me through that one, and the same God that brought me out of that, that's what you need to be telling the devil when you, broke don't scare me. Been broke most of my life. Broke don't scare me. Out of bread. And you want me to fall over? I've never seen the righteous forsaken. No seed begging for bread. That's because you've walked through some stuff. And if you're going to reign with him, you got to learn how to suffer with him. You got to learn how to die so you can live. Because if you try to save your life, you're going to lose it. But if you go ahead and lose it now, give up your life now, he said you shall gain it. We don't understand what it means, last being first and first being last. We keep thinking about blessings. They weren't talking blessings. They were talking about what is right and what is fair. I work longer and I work harder. That's right to do. And some of you are growing closer to the Lord because of what you're going through and complaining about it. Question, which is more important? Having God with you while you're going through, or having the thing? So if I've got God with me while I'm going through, if they say they're going to throw me in the fire, take your best shot. So when you throw me in the furnace, since he's with me, he said, before you go in, let me go check the temperature in there. He'll go in and adjust the thermostat and turn the air conditioning on. To everybody else, it looked like everything should burn up. But to you, you walking around in there talking with him. So which would you rather have, the creation or the creator? Please focus on those lessons. Because going into chapter 4 in Exodus, before they came out, their minds had to change. Because failure to change while you're in it. The lesson is to get you to change your mind. Failure to change your mind. Everybody look at me. Everybody look. Failure to change your mind while you're in the lesson means when he brings you, he will bring you out, but you can't get it all. Because you didn't go through the change. The change is happening while you're going through. Change your mind while you're going through. And say, though you slay me, yet will I trust you. There's a reason for this. There's a reason why you chose me first. You knew I could handle the burden of the day, the heat of the day. There's some people you chose at the end of the day because you know they can't handle hot weather. But I'd rather be chosen first. And you know my work ethic. So once you paid everybody off, watch this, and they get their penny. They can't, once their penny run out, now they gotta go look for another job. But since you my friend, I ain't gotta rely on my penny. Y'all ain't. When my penny run out, I say, hey friend, I need a favor. You see what I'm saying? You ask for big things when you're in relation. Folk that don't know you can't come ask to borrow $1,000. I know you like that. Y'all looking at me. I know you like that. But when you're in relations and they know that you worked hard and they know that you're good for it and they know that you just got paid and you go, I ain't worried about it, get it back to me whenever you can. It's called favor. And we wrestle with that based upon kingdom rule. Not understanding he's trying to draw you close so that you can be favored. Now that's just the introduction to the lesson. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, your help is on the way. Can I tell you, the thing that's messing with your help coming is God not going to send the help till you change your attitude. Lord have mercy. He got the help prepared, but he said, not now. They still complaining. Not now. They ain't changed their mind. Nah, I got it for you, John. I do. I got it for you, but you can't get it until you change. You change your attitude, I'll send the help. See, you can teach this some places, because when you go to teach that, that's not what they want to hear. They'll leave. And that's why God will send you to a little place, a little church with no name on outside, to a place where you can come in and get these life lessons. Watch this. So when you leave here, can I tell you, when you walk in something that you've been prepared for, when he hire other folks, they don't know what the heat is like. They don't know what the struggle is like. So when you walk on a new job, you say, I got this. Well, child, who taught you how to do that? They work the same job you work, but they don't understand your level of intellect has changed. Because, say it again, you took words out of my mouth. Been there, done. I know what it's like to be down. Being down don't scare me. So when he put you in a position, he put you around other people, and you're having to go through these life lessons, you don't jump out of windows because you ran out of food. You go take 2 slices of bread and get some mayonnaise. And you cut your bananas, or my mom used to do some apples and mayonnaise. And we even got so bad that we did the mayonnaise with the salt and pepper was all the meat. Yeah. So I know what it's like to be down. Why? Because Paul says I've learned how to be abased and how to abound. I've learned how to be calm in everything. Why? Because I've been through this. Oh, we don't know what I'm going to do. How are we going to be there? We're going to do this. And you fall out. Oh, I don't know why God doing this to me. I heard that man say, when his child died, he says, I hate the God that will take my child. We're not talking about a little child. We're talking about an adult that was out there doing something foolish and died. But they hate the God that's giving them breath, that's giving them life. When you're given 2 promises, you're going to be born, you're going to become through a woman. When you leave here, you're not going to know how you're going to leave. I want you to leave this place grateful for where you are. The only way that you're going to be able to live better in the day that we're living in the time when everybody's scratching for stuff and wanting to be more, and they checking out everybody else and comparing themselves, the only way you're going to live better is to have God on your side and have a relationship with God. Because what would it do? Profit a man to gain the whole world and then turn around and lose his soul. Live good for a minute. I dare you to go home. I'm challenging you. Go home. Sit down. Recognize you just used the key to a place that some people don't even have a place. Recognize that you can go look in your refrigerator and there's some food in there that some people don't even have that. Look around, see how good God is. Wait a minute. Open up your phone and see the names. And wait, you got a phone. Then you got names. That even if you got in trouble, you can call on somebody to help. Wait. Look around. Wait a minute. That light you turned on to go into the house? He helped you pay last month. Start being appreciative of what you have right then. And then the more you appreciate him for that, praise and the worship will come out and you say, God, I am grateful. Then he says, let everybody go on home. Everybody take their penny and go on home. And then he says to his friend, call me when you get home. Right. Y'all get it. He says to his friend, call me when you get home. I know you're unsatisfied with the penny. Because you didn't complain, because he only said to some of them, since you didn't complain, tell me what you need. The penny ain't enough. Come seek it. I take care of you. I make sure you don't go get down, friend. But them other jokers had to take their penny and go on about your way. He said, that's what heaven's like. Did you get that? Look at somebody and tell me he's preparing me. Yeah. Just for something you can't handle right now. He's preparing you. He let you live the way you live right now because he's preparing you for something that you can't handle right now. But if I'm grateful and I learn how to appreciate this, guess what? Go ahead and stand to your feet. I'm going to make it there. And when I get there, it's going to be better than this. Because he said, this present day suffering is not worthy to be compared to the glory that shall be revealed in us. God is about to reveal in Robert Johnson something. I want to tell y'all thank you for your prayers. Mom came and took me to surgery because they had to evacuate South Carolina. My mom and my sisters and my sister and her family was able to come and stay with me. And I have a prayer room. There's only a chair in there with my prayer cover and a pillow under the chair. My altar on the other wall. And got some psychedelic lights in there. The fan never gets turned off. I don't want nobody going in with your shoes on. I don't want anybody going in with your watch. Time is not of essence in there. I don't want you playing any music in there. I don't want anything. I'm not bragging. I'm just telling you what I needed to do for me. And she came. She was tired. She said, I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to do that for you. I'm going to do this for you. And I knew she would, because that's how she does when we go home. But when she came to my house, she said, she was talking to her friend on the phone. She said, girl, I told you you should have come with me. Because she didn't know she was coming to stay a week. You should have come. She said, yeah. When I got here, it was time. I told him I was going to cook for him. I feel so bad. She didn't know I heard. While she was talking on the phone, I was telling God, thank you. You know why? Because I wanted my mama to come and rest. She went and sat down in the room, and I heard, why? Because I said, thank you, Lord, for a place. I've always wanted a room set aside that you can go in and drop your cares and just relax. She went to sleep. She said, boy, it's something about that room. That room, and you go to sleep. I said, yeah, that's what it's for. He was crying. I was crying. I grabbed her eyes and she wouldn't stop crying. I said, give me that. Remember the green and blue towels that we used to have out under night? When they changed the decor of the church, they were about to throw those towels away. And I said, give me 2 of those towels. I took those towels and washed them and rolled them up under and put them on the altar. And I grabbed one. She was crying and I threw that towel over. And we sat in the chair and I started humming to her. She started looking around. She calmed right down, started crying, and went straight to sleep. Why am I telling you that? Because God has something just for you that you can come and settle into. And He's ready for that. The only way you can have that is show God that you appreciate where you are. Show God that, you know what, for right where I am, I want to tell you thank you. Not because a whole lot of people are worse off than you, but because He thought enough of you to let you go through and still call you friend. Father, it's in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. I want to tell you thank you for these lessons. I want to tell you thank you for that, God, because that's not even in my notes. I want to tell you thank you for preparation for where you're taking us. I want to honor you and tell you that we want not only reverence you, but we respect you for being God. You're sovereign. You can do what you want to do and how you want to do it. Just continue to build our relationship. Call us friend. Call us the apple of your eye. Draw us closer. Bless our brothers and sisters, and we won't be jealous. Yes. We rejoice with them that rejoice, and we also weep with them that weep. We're going to be grown up about this. A lot of people need you. I need you too. Just while you're passing by, don't forget about me, but go see about them. Go see about them. We want to honor you tonight. As we leave this place tonight from your presence, I want to tell you thank you for this lesson. I pray that it goes down deep into our hearts. Change our mind. Change our way of living. And be careful to give your name the glory, the honor, and the praise. Bless this offering tonight as we leave it on our way out. And we'll honor you with it. We plant seed in this ground. Use it for the building of your kingdom, and we'll give you the glory. In Jesus' name we pray. Somebody say amen. Amen. And amen. Turn around, hug somebody close to you, and tell them God has your help on the way. It's on the way. It's on the way. It's on the way. Yes, it is. Please come on Sunday. Try to make prayer on Sunday morning. I should be back in full swing. I want to say in front of everybody, we want to thank Minister Rozier for a job well done and for her standing in the place where she's been. Everybody listen? Hello? Please, maybe when she goes by, because if you don't know what it's like to stand before people and to try to make sure that you give what God said to give. It's tough. It's tough to do it not only and follow up behind somebody, but it's tough being behind me. So please, before you leave, give her a hug, give her a good God bless you. Let her know that you appreciate her and her efforts, because sometimes it gets tough. But I'll be back in full swing. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your blessings. Just continue to lift me up. I'm not out of the water yet, but I'm swimming. I thank God for you. God bless you, and I love you. We'll see you on Sunday.
See your husband inside. And you know, it's right there by my blue bag.